Ian Paisley.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, for calling me in this very important debate on corporation tax. I think today is actually a red-letter day for Northern Ireland. It certainly gives the lie to those who would suggest that nothing ever changes in politics, that devolution doesn't actually do anything. It actually sends out a very powerful signal that actually, after diligent, hard work and eventually constant dripping, we have worn away a stone and we have achieved something very, very positive for Northern Ireland in terms of ensuring that at last we can set our own rate of corporation tax. And that is really what devolution was supposed to be about. Supposed to allow the economies that make up the United Kingdom to compete to their strengths, allow them to set their own pace of change, to be agile and to be able to compete. And for a long time, many of us argued for this change, and at last we now see the legislation in print and we see it moving forward on a very positive footing. So those who oppose devolution or who say that nothing really changes, I think today they can eat their words and hopefully choke in this bill. So to speak.
Metaphorically only.
Some members have indicated that corporation tax is not the silver bullet. I don't think I actually heard anyone ever indicating that it was to be, that it was to be a once-in-a-lifetime miracle working single standalone solution. No one ever has thought of that. It's part of the arrows in the quiver that can be fired at the right target at the right time. And the important point about corporation tax, I believe, Madam Deputy Speaker, is that it does change perceptions about this economy, about a go-forward, low-tax, incentivised economy. And indeed, that seems to be part of the current government's own economic plan. That's why I understand they've been trying to reduce tax time and time again, and we welcome that. But I do agree with the honourable member opposite, who stood many times in this debate and indeed in other debates and demanded that we have even lower taxes across the whole of the United Kingdom. Wouldn't it be a far better day today if this was the reduction of corporation tax for the whole of the United Kingdom? That should really be what we should be debating across this House. And I hope that one day the members at that side of the House will follow our lead in this and will reduce their corporation tax now to the new levels that Northern Ireland has ambitions to reduce its corporation tax to. The government's plan to reduce tax, I think, is welcome. And I think it also shows that corporation tax itself, and anyone looks at the history of the economy of the Republic of Ireland, corporation tax reductions there did not alone support the Republic of Ireland's boom years. They had other unique selling points, which I think is important to consider. They sold the fact that they had a great youth, a well-educated youth, an advantaged youth that was cheaper as an offshore part of Europe to invest in. Can I say that we compete on all of the same footing as that? And I believe we can do it even better. After all, we're British, and we're an offshore part of Britain. We're Britain offshore. And I think that if we can use that to our advantage as a unique selling point, then we should be doing that also. And I welcome those who will join us in that. Other members have indicated today that this will affect 34,000 plus local companies, 26,500 of which are the backbone of our economy because they're small and medium-sized enterprises. And so I know that many of them welcome this and are looking forward to the opportunities that this will create. And they have welcomed the fact that front benches have changed their minds. There were members who for a long time were like John the Baptist. They preached in the wilderness, but eventually they managed to get a convert. And both sides, I think both front benches recognised that they had to be converted to this. And that's a good thing, because if we're all saying the one thing, someone isn't thinking. And so there has been a lot of thought on this on both sides. And I do welcome the change of heart, in particular on the shadow bench, where in 2007, I remember the former Prime Minister telling us that he couldn't do it. He would give us a Varney review and we could tamper with this, that and the other. And indeed the then spokesman on the Treasury told us that the corporation tax reduction for Northern Ireland does not offer the best way forward. Well, I'm glad that today we've got recognition that it is the best way forward, and that we have, I hope, what will be unanimity in this House. Now, as I've said, this is not going to be a one-night wonder that it's going to change things overnight. It'll probably be at least a decade before we actually reap the benefit of change. But anyone who knows that Northern Ireland's economy also has a very strong agricultural section, then they'll appreciate what I'm going to say now. Before you can reap those changes, you've got to sow. And today we have got very good seed, and I believe we're going to be putting it into very good ground. And I look forward to, over the next 10, 15, 20 years, seeing the game-changing strategy that has been put in place today, reaping a wonderful economic harvest for Northern Ireland as the years progress. And I do believe that anything that the Republic of Ireland has been able to offer in terms of the benefits the corporation tax reduction have brought there, Northern Ireland can do on steroids and can do particularly better. After all, we're part of a G20 nation, and the benefits of that stability should be recognised to all. In 2011, the Select Committee, under the watchful eye of the member for Tewkesbury, indicated that this was going to be a game changer, and I believe that the Select Committee should be congratulated for pursuing this and encouraging the government to look afresh at it, because at that point it literally had been dropped and people thought it was over. And I think that he does need to be, the chairman of the Select Committee needs to be singled out today to be congratulated for pushing this matter. But I do believe that Northern Ireland has, over the last 5 years, indicated and demonstrated that the executive there looks at other good, competitive economic measures that we should be embracing. And of course, what will give way.
Very grateful to the honourable member and my honourable friend for giving way. Would he also agree that whilst some people here had given up on corporation tax, that there were parties and politicians back in Northern Ireland and in the Assembly who also gave up on the devolution of the power to set corporation tax rates, and that this party did not give up on it, and we're glad to see the fruits of our labour today?
I must say, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm shocked. My honourable friend wants me to start electioneering in this House. He wants me to start saying that it was us that won it. Well, it was. We know that, and the electorate know that, and they'll prove that on the 7th of May.
Look at the record.
And I know that the record is very, very powerful. We didn't give up on this. Yeah. We did push this. The member for Tewkesbury, I think, will confirm that it was our party who pushed the Select Committee to push this issue and to have an inquiry, and not a desktop inquiry, but to have a solid investigation, an investigation that took us overseas, that took us to the Republic of Ireland, that took us to the United States, and we looked at this issue and pushed it solidly. And I think that today we are reaping the results of that, because some of the foot draggers didn't want to see this day. Well, I'm glad that today those who were swift of foot have got to this finish line. Just I bring my remarks to a close. I think it is important to say that Northern Ireland is offering a very unique brand for people to invest in. Obviously, we have a land border with the Republic of Ireland, so we have to demonstrate additional economic stimuli to get our economy going, and this bill today will allow us to do that. The Ernst & Young survey recently published, called Global Cities of the Future report, has indicated that Northern Ireland is now one of the most business-friendly Belfast is now one of the most business-friendly medium-sized cities to invest in, and I think that is showing that what Northern Ireland is offering to foreign and direct investment in particular is an agile and capable economy with workers who want to see their economy grow and their economy change. We do, of course, export the best buses from my constituency to this city. We do export the best pavements from Northern Ireland. I think it's a member for South Down who exports the best pavements to pave London with. And of course, we do export some of the best drink to ply the workers with from Bushmills. And I think whenever we see that the export opportunities are already available in Northern Ireland, we will see this as an opportunity to continue to grow our economy. Northern Ireland is a good place to invest. Indeed, 75% of investors reinvest after they've been in Northern Ireland. So not only do they come here and they make their initial investment, but the lion's share of them come back and reinvest and invest again, because they see it as the place for their pound to grow. Of course, I'll give way.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much indeed to Madam Deputy Speaker. I hesitate to intervene, the Honourable Member, but it's very kind of him to allow me to do so. The Honourable Member will, of course, have noted that in his closing remarks, the Minister did make the very valid point that the reduction and the devolution of corporation tax to the Northern Ireland Executive is, of course, contingent upon the implementation of the Stormont House talks. And I'm sure that the honourable gentleman who is speaking for the DUP and speaking loudly for the DUP would also like to confirm that the DUP is absolutely wedded to the full implementation of all of the commitments and recommendations in the Stormont House talks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Whilst this is not the place to debate all of the Stormont House agreement, given that we were instrumental in helping to achieve that agreement, of course we will be pursuing every line, every jot, every tittle to ensure that we get the best deal for Northern Ireland in all of that arrangement. Between 2013 and 2014, it was a record year for investment in Northern Ireland. Nearly 11,000 new jobs were promoted and 23 new first-time investors were actually welcomed into Northern Ireland. Now, if we can do that in a year in advance of the corporation tax bill, what can we not do if we can now go out around the world and start to market Northern Ireland as the place with what I hope will be the lowest level of corporation tax on these islands? And if we can do that, we really will have the opportunity to see Northern Ireland attracting even more companies and to attract 23 new investors, high calibre investors in the last year, of course. Well, in the last year, during the hard economic climate that we have been coming out of, I think it is a signal that things are changing. Of course, I'll give way.
Could I thank the honourable gentleman, the honourable member for North Antrim, for giving way? Would he agree with me that as part of lowering the level of corporation tax for Northern Ireland, that there is a need to not only rebalance the economy, but to ensure that there is a balanced regional development approach to the location of foreign direct investment and other investment to ensure that all the citizens achieve benefits from this lowering of corporation tax?
The honourable member makes a very, very good point, and I think it's absolutely key. This tax is not about just investment into Belfast or Londonderry or key cities. This is about investment into the whole of Northern Ireland. Indeed, when the Prime Minister recently stated that he wanted to make the United Kingdom the factory of Europe and attract more jobs into the United Kingdom, I hope he was speaking for every part of the United Kingdom and wanting to see those investments coming across, not just to London, not just to the south, but to all of the United Kingdom, because that's what we really do need. We need more investment, and I know the honourable member wants to see investment in her constituency. I am currently carrying what's going to be the single largest job loss in Northern Ireland in the last few years, with the closure of JTI in my constituency later in 2017. I want to see those jobs filled. I want to see opportunities created where there will be more investment happening in my constituency, more factories brought to my constituency. And if the current government is returned, I hope that they add meat to the bones of that call to turn the United Kingdom into the factory of Europe by bringing jobs not only to my honourable friend's constituency in South Down, but certainly to bring them to my constituency in North Antrim, and indeed to all of our constituencies. And we see a balance in the actual investment that is going to be made. The honourable member also called an earlier intervention for honourable member for South Down also called an early intervention for reduction in VAT. Especially on our trade as tourism trade. I fully support that. I think that is one of the key areas that we're trying to grow our economy and trying to attract new business investment in, new hoteliers, new companies, is in tourism. And if we can ensure that we reduce VAT in that sector, we will actually see that sector grow. We again compete with the Republic of Ireland on that sector, and we see where we compete in a sector like that, where they have a lower tax rate, it damages us, and we really need to try and make progress in that.
I know that the honourable gentleman will be very careful in sticking to the narrow confines of the third reading of this particular bill. I appreciate that the points that he is making are tangentially attached to this bill, but I'm quite sure that in concluding he will be referring entirely to the bill.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, for that prompt. It was actually the point of conclusion, and I do thank you for reminding me that I do have to conclude. I know the honourable members are encapsulated by my oratory today, want me to continue, but I must desist, and so I leave those points with the House. Thank you.